Welcome to SchezzWho, your top spot for politics. And my role in bringing you great political content requires your role in being a participant. So, like this video, share it around, comment on this video, and especially subscribe to the SchezzWho channel. Let's grow this thing. Now, on to what keeps the show going. Leading off with Mr. Farley Perkins over at the Farley Perkins Agency, 757 271 6655. He'll be able to help you out for needed insurance here in the Hampton Roads area. If you're in the mood for a craving settling sweet tooth fix, then I would head over to ELG Sweet Boutique, 340 High Street, here in my hometown of Portsmouth. Look them up for some sweet treats. If you're in for a little southern food for dinner, then Ellen's Homestyle and Barbecue Express, also here in Portsmouth, and another location in Virginia Beach across from Regent University. So great locations all around Hampton Roads. Don't forget Mr. Seiko Varner over at Positive Vibes Incorporated, because he can help you out with credit fixes and tax resolutions, lending, private money, debt consolidation, all the good stuff. Hit up 757-932-0177. He can help you with that. And if you're just looking around for great Black-owned businesses in Hampton Roads, he created the Hampton Roads Green Book, a great application to help you find those. And don't forget the Black Swan broadcast put on by my lovely, awesome wife, Andrea Dixon. She has a new content coming out very soon on the Black Swan podcast. So last night we spoke with the great candidate in Chesapeake, and tonight we're bringing on Virginia Beach District 7 Councilperson Cash Jackson Green. So I'm going to bring him on right now. Good sir, how are you tonight?
Thank you. Thank you for having me on this show. I'm doing exciting. I'm doing great. I'm going meeting to meeting to meeting, and now to you.
And I'm so thankful that you are giving me your time in order to just share this great day with all the rest of us viewers. Couple of topics tonight that I think would be pretty important. I want to begin with some stuff that I know that you're influential in. And I'm hearing a little bit about the Sands Senior Facility.
Yes.
And I believe that's near the J&K in Virginia Beach, which is a lovely restaurant. I love them. Can you tell me what it is, what started it as it is, all the need to know information about what makes this project important?
So the silver community is very important and near and dear to my heart. When I was campaigning in 2024, as you know, I'm going everywhere, knocking on every door. And then there are senior facilities that I'm introducing myself. And one of the things that caught my eye about the Sands is, one, they didn't have security. Two, they didn't have a check-in process that I felt like was needed. If you're a visitor, you need to have a check-in process. And then the third is I realized that they didn't have representation. Even though senior communities have a state and federal overlay, they didn't have a city representative or a city influence. And so I knew that once I got into office, that one of the initiatives is I was going to drive home, letting the seniors know that we care and that they have a friend on city council.
All right. All right. Do you know some more information? How many participants are
Yeah,
living there?
yeah,
How cost effective it might be for them? Well, what makes it special
right,
compared to other living facilities in Virginia Beach?
right. So the Sands uh, is a residential facility where they stay there. It's about over 100 residents, and most of those residents are on Medicaid or social services. They receive their social services, so security. Um, and most of them are receiving donations to make ends meet until they get their social security check or until they get their Medicaid. And so I realized that most of the senior citizens at the Sands which is about 100, a little over 100, were not being well taken care of. And I'm talking about when it comes to security, when it comes to food and making sure that they have enough food to stretch until they get their next paycheck. So we connected them with Reset Inc., which is a food pantry that I have adopted. When it comes to security, I realized that they didn't have security. And so they had homeless men and women that would come in the sands and sometimes take their packages that they receive from Amazon or FedEx or the U.S. Postal Services. And so I partnered with the Sheriff's Department that they would come in and do a defense class. I felt like this was important, one, not to teach them defensive skills only, but it was two, to sound the alarm to our law enforcement agencies that the sands need help. When you're police, you're patrolling the streets. When you're sheriffs, you can actually, make visits and deliveries, and you can do a little more. So I included the sheriffs or the sheriff's department very strategically. Police to patrol the streets, the deputies to if you will make house calls, and I wanted them to know that if they are cruising past, whether they're police or sheriffs, that keep the sands in mind because they don't have a security system. Um, and I want people to know that I care about the sands. And so since 2024, everyone has known that I care about the sands. And so crime or people homeless, population coming in the sands, that has been reduced to where we don't get any reports. When it comes to food shortages that oftentimes happen with our seniors community, that should be a state delegate, right? You should have those members of the House of Delegates that should be engaged with the senior community. Well, that's a missing gap. I have respect for those that run for office, any person that runs for office, but I think we have forgotten about our senior community. And so, as a part of my initiative, I've got 4 senior facilities on Auburn Drive. And the template is what works effectively at the Sands. Then I communicate that to the rest of the senior communities on Auburn Street.
Is this an initiative you might want to take for other parts besides Auburn in your district and perhaps throughout the city of Virginia Beach?
Correct, 100%. With one of the things that I've done is everyone, once you get elected, they invite you to take a tour of their facilities. So I've taken a tour of Westminster, Canberry, which is a very well organized senior community, Aviva, which just opened up, that's in Pembroke Mall area. They've got a well organized machine. You have to check in, you get a badge. They've really got it down. But throughout the rest of Virginia Beach, I think that there are communities, senior communities, that need the same type of TLC that I've given to the Sands that needs to be transferred throughout Virginia Beach. I think I went to the Jamestown Common today. That was my second Sands or my second senior community. And the program director said to me, she says, I haven't had a visit from a politician in 3 years. She says, we have veterans here. We've got a very thriving senior community, but we don't see much of elected officials here. And that to me is alarming because when you're campaigning, you want their vote. But when you're not campaigning, they haven't been followed up. And so I'm going to make sure, as a part of my initiative, is follow up. We also have with the term follow up, we have a listening session that we're starting at the Sands, and I'm going to spread that through Virginia Beach senior communities. First, I want to be respectful to other council members, and you have to have a communication with them and letting them know, hey, listen, if you don't want me to do your listening service, then I encourage you to have listening services with your senior community homes or facilities. And so I'll let you know how that goes on the 29th. The reason why listening services or listening sessions are very important is because I have town hall meetings where the working class are able to come to the high schools. I've had two so far, one at College Park Elementary and the second at uh, Salem High School. A lot of the seniors tell me they don't drive at night. Well, our town hall meetings are from 6 to 8 p.m. So instead of calling it a town hall meeting, I've called it a listening session where I actually bring the town hall to them. I'm just not using the term town hall. I'm actually using the correct terminology, listening session.
I want to take this time to also shout out my high school alma mater, which is Salem High School in Virginia Beach, Virginia. I am a Sun Devil, graduating
Awesome.
class 2005. And
Right.
this upcoming Saturday will be our 20th anniversary of our graduation. So cool for any Sun Devils watching this.
Yeah.
I also want to shout out because you mentioned the sheriff's office is
Yeah.
helping you in helping to just monitor the area around the sands to make sure that it is not as crime riddled and perhaps crime rapidly dropping, as you mentioned. So I also want to shout out Mr. Sheriff Holcomb, who I think has a camp at Green Run High School coming up soon. I just want to shout out Mr. Holcomb because I
That's
like
right.
football. And because
That's
I like
right.
football, I'm going to have football camps.
Good.
You also mentioned your reset, which is I believe, a food pantry. I
It
want to give you
is.
a chance to expand as much as you can on what was the idea to start it, what does
Yeah.
it do, what more does it need, what is it helping, stuff like that. While you do that, I will throw up here on the screen the
Yeah.
website for it.
Yeah. So Reset Inc. Is a local food pantry that sits on the trifecta. And what I mean, the trifecta on Military Highway that services Virginia Beach residents, Chesapeake residents, and Norfolk residents. I noticed Reset in 2024, where I was campaigning. So you're on every social media. I was on Nextdoor a lot, listening to the residents. And then I noticed that she had a lot of likes. And so the director of Reset Inc. is Sabrina Davis. I went and met with Sabrina Davis after a couple of months of saying, hey, she said, come in and take a tour of Reset Inc. Um, because I'm Virginia Beach, I just didn't know the lines, right? Well, her address said Chesapeake. So I thought, what's the use of me going, because I don't know if I can redirect money her way because she sits in an address that says Chesapeake. So I went because what she was doing, she was providing 24/7 a food pantry that's 24/7. So I said, okay, this is near and dear to my heart. Um, I'm going to go. So I began to erase the political line. And my theme is people over politics. Well, politics keep me only in that line of Virginia Beach, but people, I'll go wherever there's a need at. And so I said to myself, I almost dropped my phone. I've got it propped up here. So I said to myself, you're going to go because there's people that are in need. So her place of business sits across the street from District 7. So you're on Auburn Street. And if you cross the street, you're at Reset Inc. So I took a tour and I realized that She has been servicing a large portion of District 7 or Virginia Beach. So they give clothing, they give food vouchers, they give the necessary five essential food sources. They are not just about Chesapeake or Norfolk. They're about the kids too. They do backpacks for the kids going back to school. They're a small, if you will, grocery store that's open 24/7. Then it dawned on me that she actually is, or Reset Inc. is actually a safety net to crime. And she's helping keep the crime levels low in my district, as well as Virginia Beach, because people don't have to steal for food. They can come to the food pantry and they can open that refrigerator or the deep freezer and they can have a meal. And so she told me that most of her clients are from the working class. So that meant something to me. And I said, you know what? We need to get you in front of city council, because she didn't have a large platform of the work that she was doing. She was doing it all by herself. And so I said, I'm going to be a megaphone to you because you're a safety net to crime. I don't want people going into our senior services communities looking for food or for packages. And so I really felt like if there were people that were in need of food or clothing, then they can go to Reset Inc., which is right down the street. So this became a winning combination for District 7. And get this, they even deliver food to families that call them. So it's not just you come there and there's a 24/7 food pantry operation, but they even have a mobile delivery service, which I said, I'm going to be bold and do my theme, people over politics. So I scheduled for Sabrina Davis to meet and give a overview of her organization, her food pantry organization, to city council. And I asked that city council would consider if there was a regional grant available, because she is actually providing a safety net to crime, that we need to do whatever we can to stand behind this organization, because she is stopping a lot of people from committing crimes. A lot of family members that are thinking about they don't have enough because they paid their rent or they paid their bills. Well, guess what? They can go there. So I felt like it was important. So we actually were able to rub out politics and make it about people.
And I know that in many communities, Hampton Roads of Virginia, that there's food deserts. It's a very important thing to try to solve. I like the idea that with actions like Reset, that it's going to be an action system where people can help if the government is falling short,
That's
to be
right.
able to donate money, food, time, especially because you just
Right.
mentioned the delivery drivers, to places where they might not have the best access to food. I was looking around there on the website too. I saw the disaster relief part. I'm very intrigued because this area is prone to, say, tropical systems. We could get hit with a big flooding issue, and an organization like Reset might be able to help that. How much vision do you have on what they might be able to do specific to disaster relief? That one caught my
Right.
eye.
Right. So when it comes to disaster relief, they are set up with the Southeast Virginia Food Pantry or Food Services, where if there's a family that is in need, they have the resources to be able to get them food, ready food, and to be able to keep them from, if the lights, and disaster just doesn't mean you had an earthquake or a tornado, or you had some natural disaster. But what if you get your electricity cut off? They have food there that can keep families going, that are canned foods, right? And so this organization is really very thoughtful when it comes to emergencies that happen at home, whether it's a natural disaster or they didn't have enough money to pay the bills. Disaster.
I'm very intrigued by the mission. I'm very intrigued by the service. I believe it can do very much good. And do you have any ideas as to how much your role could help spur, say, expanding beyond where its current geographical setting is, or perhaps spur to create other organizations in Virginia Beach, neighboring cities that do
Yeah.
the same thing?
Right. No, thank you for asking because we've been excited to see the growth of the community and the connectivity of the community. And people are coming out. You've got people who are growing fruit in their own backyard, who are donating fresh fruit to this organization. You've got. I was able to contact the Chesapeake Sheriff's Department and Sheriff Rosado and asked that he would take a visit. I was able to contact our sheriff's department and ask that they would take a visit. And so you've got this this organization that is bringing cities together. So with that being said, it sets a wonderful template of expansion. I told her, I said, we need to always keep because she's receiving so many pallets of food daily because I've been on the megaphone, right? I've been letting everyone know that maybe food was cut. We had the mobile 757 food pantry that was cut in my district. Used to meet at New Life Full Gospel Baptist Church. That was cut. And I said, no worries. We've got another organization that's up and running. And since everyone knows that wherever I go, I'm going to talk about Reset Inc., because at the federal level, even though they cut some programs, you really don't feel the effect of those cuts until next year. Well, guess what? We're going to have a plan in place. We're going to have people in place. We've got tons of volunteers that are now volunteering at Reset Inc. And so we are grateful for the loads of canned foods that we receive, fresh meats, fresh fruits. We even have farmers who are donating eggs, fresh eggs. And so this is not just a grocery store. And we're grateful for Food Lion that is in District 7. That was their first donation that they received from a local grocery store was Food Lion. And I had a talk with Sabrina. I said, because wherever I go, I'm going to begin to champion that they may have cuts at the federal level or even at the state. We're still going to stay locked and loaded for our residents in District 7, as well as Chesapeake, as well as New Norfolk. And I said, we're going to grow. And so there is a building that is across the street in Virginia Beach that I have my eye on, that when that time comes, I'll begin to talk to the right powers to be so that we won't have food deserts in Virginia Beach, or for that matter, for those who live on the trifecta. We've got to be prepared when natural disasters happen. We've got to be prepared when federal cuts happen. We've got to keep our eye on the ball. And we have to work together. The reason why my theme, People Over Politics, works is because I am that politician that will go to anyone. And I'm so grateful that I've created this persona that I'm not locked in some political camp. They know that I care about the people. So if I need to go to this organization, and they can provide resources, i.e., and when I talk about resource, let me explain. Reset Inc. is in need of a refrigerated truck. Right now, she's receiving so many loads of food that she's using her pickup or she's using her truck, and it can't hold it all. So she has to rent a U-Haul. And so that's time and money and gas. And so we need $51,000 that we are raising so that we can have a refrigerated truck. And because people know my theme, people over politics, when I come and I make the pitch for Reset Inc., they know that I'm not making it on some political stance. It's for people. And most of the people, get this, that take advantage of Reset Inc. are the working class. It isn't those that have chosen a life of homelessness. It's the working class. We also pass out diapers on Thursdays. Every Thursday, if you're a working family, working class family, even if you're not a working class family and you have a family, you can come get free diapers. Every Thursday, we're passing out diapers. And so we have thought about expansion. We're in talks. She has a lease with the Chesapeake place, and so she's going to keep that lease. And we're going to look to having a place in Virginia Beach. So,
Excellent. And as that works to try to solve, try to help out with things like food deserts, as we mentioned, it's not the only thing communities need, especially here in Virginia Beach. Housing's an issue too. I believe that you also have plans, initiatives, thoughts
yeah,
on affordable housing. And I
yeah,
think you might want to touch on tiny homes.
yeah, yeah. So that became important to me because when I was at Reset Inc., we had Tiny Homes do a presentation to us. And in Suffolk, they have the permitting and zoning where you could actually have your house, but in the back of your house, you can actually build a tiny home. We are running out of space, we're running out of land. And so, where do we build? Well, the people are going to have to go somewhere. So, we're going to have to work with zoning. I think Suffolk has done an excellent job in their zoning and planning department where we can plan to build smaller units in your backyard. And so that's where tiny homes has come into play. I think we have to be smart about this. If not, then if you don't have enough money to purchase the abandoned malls, then where are people going to go? They're going to go somewhere where they're going to go into the houses and they're going to be packed into the houses. So I think tiny homes has the right thinking when it comes to utilizing the land and space that you have in your house. If you would like to be a homeowner plus maybe have another home in the backyard, I think tiny homes have become the thing. And I think we all know about tiny homes. You heard about tiny homes. Why not have a tiny home in your backyard? This will help improve density. Yes, it's gonna improve density, but it's gonna give people a place to live. And that's where we have to start thinking. We have to start thinking outside of the box.
Mhm.
When you think of families that are homeless, think about our shelter that we have. It's packed. Anytime you call down to our shelter and there's a family that's in need, they have to wait because it's packed. So what are we going to do? Well, we have to begin to think outside the box, and tiny homes, I think, becomes that next plan of action. It's going to take leadership, it's going to take rezoning, but we have to begin to think outside the normal lines.
So it does sound a bit challenging because zoning is there's always a tough minutia to try to change that. We would be encouraged to know that you're putting forth the initiative to try to help be a leader on changing that zoning. Is there ways that you might envision other types of incentives that might encourage other, say, smaller landowners, not townhouses per se, but someone with larger yards or something that might spur them to get a little bit more interested in providing tiny homes like city grants or something like that? Is that an idea?
Tax credits. Everyone is interested in tax credits. Everyone is interested in money coming back to you through the state or money coming back to you through your real estate taxes. the ideal that I think about for me as a homeowner is if money is coming back to me either through a tax grant or through a real estate or through a federal program, which they have a lot of federal programs. But if you're taking the initiative of making sure that people are not homeless and your land is utilized in a way that keeps people from being homeless, then I think we need to think about tax credits.
And by just simply providing a greater density, more houses, less and less people will effectively be without homes. And we like the idea for the community
That's right.
to see that going as well. And there,
That's right.
besides food, besides housing, there's other ways the community really gets helped. Some is more like a morale, a boost, a spirit, an improvement to the community's way of thinking. And I think you
Right.
have a couple of partnerships in the local area that focus on the youth, focusing on sports,
Yeah.
and getting them more engaged with the government process. Now,
Yes.
would you like to speak on those?
I do. I do. One of the things about running for office is, you have to, I have to begin to bring the community together. If there are so many federal cuts and things are happening at the federal level, how can I unify us where we are thinking more as a cohesive group, less in politics, more as a unified people? Well, I was able to do that through sports. And everything just began to line up correctly. Joe Smith, the NBA legend, when I was campaigning, I said, there's something here. You're here, Joe Smith. You followed me in 2024. And he said to me, he says, even if you don't win, I'll still watch you because I think that you have the heart of the people. And when I was elected in 2024, Joe was right there as I was being elected as the new city council member for District 7. So I said, Joe, what would you like to do? He said, I would like to have a basketball camp for our youth. I would like to tap into those kids who are talented. And so I would just need a place. And I said, let me go to work. I presented the Joe Smith Basketball Academy camp to our city council members. And I said, listen, here's the NBA legend. We know he's from Norfolk, yet he is without a home. I said, Virginia Beach, we champion being all about sports tourism. That's our number one driving theme song is being a sports tourism destination. I said, let it begin by having our professional NBA players who have left and went around and traveled around can come back to give back. And I said, let's start with Joe Smith. Let's begin to tie in this theme of sports tourism. Let's tie it into Joe Smith. I said, let's give him a facility. I said, let the city of Virginia Beach step up to the plate and let's provide an avenue where we can partner with Joe Smith, the NBA legend. And so the city was gracious enough, and the city council members were gracious enough to agree to partner with the Joe Smith Basketball Academy. And that's what we did. We provided a place at the sports tourism or the sports center on the ocean front. My wife is coming in the car. And and we were grateful to have his partnership, his leadership, his experience. And we were grateful. He's on his second week now. We are tremendously happy that we have this partnership with this NBA legend. We have brought together our community. Our kids are excited. It gave them something to do during the summer. They took pictures with him. He signed the pictures. Not only did it teach them the skill of being great, but it also was about a wraparound service of what to do when it comes to life skills, how to function as a human being when you get angry, Are you happy? So it wasn't just about sports. It was more about how do you deal with life. And so I was so thankful for Joe Smith, so thankful for the city of Virginia Beach, and all of our council members who allowed this to take place. And so this is on. It's on its second week. It is running successfully. You can visit Joe Smith, www.Joe Smith Basketball Academy. You can go to his social media, Instagram, Facebook, and you can see the smiling kids, the activity. You can see the parents. And so we're grateful for this partnership that's come about. I'm grateful.
And we do want to shout out, of course, Joe Smith from Maury High School, from Norfolk, a number one overall draft pick in the NBA, and who is still here having positive influences in the 757 community. And hopefully, not only is this, is the flyer said, continuing on today, tomorrow, and into the 25th, but it spurs on more camps like that, more,
Yeah.
and not just basketball. Not that basketball is bad. I played football, but more football camps, more baseball camps, more basketball, gymnastics, stuff like that, to just really bring out as much um, sports as possible in here, because that is a great way to boost the morale of any of the communities in the 757.
Well, I want to tell you, I went out to the Sportsplex this past Saturday, and because I was able to also redirect some money to our Mustangs who play at the Sportsplex. So I wanted to go and check on our investment, right? I'm good and I'm accountable to the people. So I want to make sure that this organization is up and running, and it is. I was able to meet a gentleman by the name of E.F. Fennell, who has said to me he's been hosting about 69 youth football teams that come from around the seven cities, and they compete during the month of August for this week-long celebration. Not only is he providing heads and beds for our economic stability and improving our economic portfolio, but he's doing most of this on his own dime. And so I said, do you have any city? Is the city of Virginia Beach helping you with all of this big initiative? He says, they are, but very little. And I said, again, just like I did with Joe Smith, just like I did with Reset Inc., I said, let me be a megaphone, because you are filling in the places for where some of these kids don't have fathers, they don't have solid families. These coaches are filling in the gaps, and they are providing fatherhood and motherhood and discipline, and teaching the kids through sports. And I said, you are filling in the gaps and you are protecting our kids. And I said, let me be a champion for you. So again, that's at the Sportsplex, which is the Princess Anne Sportsplex. That name is E.F. Fennell, and he does the EF Classics every year. So if you visit my website, you can go to Cash Green for City Council, and you can see that I've already put some displays of EF classics on there, getting people excited about what we're doing. Virginia Beach is going to be a sports destination, and I intend to make that happen.
Very intrigued and by the promise of that, as a big sports fan myself. And of course, I love the 757, Virginia Beach too. It warms the heart to hear about so much cool new stuff that could be happening like that. I'm glad you've been able to share that tonight with SchezzWho. And if possible, I want to give you the floor to just any cool final thoughts before you head off and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yeah, thank you. I want to thank you. I'm glad that you're back doing podcasts, right? I watched you and followed you. You were doing comedy for a second.
Mhm.
So you still had me. So when you said to me that you're coming back to podcasts, I think that you are smart, intelligent, and you're engaging for the reader. So I was happy that you've asked me to come onto your show. I will tell you that with sports comes music or entertainment. You need to have two. So I'm going to let everyone in on a sneak peek here. I'm really working with the 757 and the and District 7 or Virginia Beach specifically. We've got some talented people, music legends that are born and raised in Virginia Beach. And so I'm telling you a little bit because I want you to have me come back.
Love to.
I have partnered with them, and we're going to be honoring a music legend, a music producer legend. Maybe you can guess who this is,
Just
but
wait.
we are going to be honoring him, and probably by October. We haven't officially put the date out there, but I'm just going to tell you, sports and music go hand in hand. I want to tap into our youth who are very musically talented. I want to let them know that there are many musicians, talented musicians who come out of the 757, who have come out of Virginia Beach. And my job is to tap into that and let them know that they're coming back to give back. And I'm going to make that happen. So I'm going to do it with sports. I'm going to tap into the NBA, the NFL, um, uh, sports when it comes to swimming. We have some swimmers here who have went on to receive silver and even gold. I'm tapping into that. So, without giving you too much, I'm just going to tell you, look for the month of October, and I'll have more on that probably by the end of this month. But we are musically gifted, the 757. And so there are so many music talented people that I'm going to tap on the shoulder, just like I did Joe Smith, because the youth need you. I ran because I didn't want to see our youth who are super talented picking up guns or getting in trouble because they're so gifted and talented. So I'm calling on all of the leaders that are in sports, that are in music, to come back and give back, and let's make Virginia Beach or the 757 the tourist destination and music destination that it is.
Well, I love the sound of that. And well, Councilman, I want to thank you for coming on the SchezzWho tonight. And I definitely do want to stay in touch. I want to hear more about that when you're ready to find out more and let the rest of Virginia Beach and the Hampton Roads area know about these great plans. And of course, I wish you luck the rest of the year and, of course, a great night. Thank you again for coming on SchezzWho.
Thank you so much for having me. I'll be back on to tell you who that music talented legend is on our next show, part two.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. And I'll catch you next time.
Okay. Bye bye, everyone. Thank you for having me.
This has been another great SchezzWho episode. This time we delved into some Virginia Beach politics with District 7 Councilman Cash Jackson Green. He gave us some good initiatives that he's doing in the city and things that he's thinking about doing or planning on doing for sports and music and other great things here in Virginia Beach, Hampton Roads. I'm Conrad Chesman, host of SchezzWho. I thank you for joining me tonight. I'll have you guys catch us next time.